Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Fourth Line Plugs podcast. I'm your co-host, Colin.
I'm Jackson.
And today we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be going over correlating stats and wins in the NHL this past year with the top 4 performing playoff teams. We're also going to be going over how 2Cs are actually really important. We're going to be breaking down the Dallas Stars roster and organization and finishing off with a fun little trivia segment. So stay tuned. We got a good one for you.
Yep.
So our first segment here today is going to be looking at statistics in the NHL between the top 4 placing teams in last year's Stanley Cup Finals, which was Florida, Edmonton, Dallas, and Carolina, and trying to find stats that correlate either positively with success or negatively with success, and try to be able to maybe predict going forward what teams are actually going to be top contenders and which teams might just place high in the standings and not actually be a true threat in the NHL.
We're trying to look at why is Florida so good?
Yeah, why are they so good? Other than that they're just really good at hockey, right? So there's a few things that I found interesting when going through the stats. There's some ideas that are very commonly held in not just hockey, but kind of all sports towards success. Typically, defense is often seen as having really good defense is meaning you're going to be much more successful. And also this whole idea of kind of similar from St. Louis in 2019. They were like the extreme version, but getting hot at the right time and, having momentum towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. But something that's very interesting here, we're going to start with the win trends of each of these 4 teams here, is that 3 of them kind of slid backwards into the playoffs at the end of the year. Florida, their last 9 games of the year, they were bad. Dallas, their last 6. Carolina, their last 7. All 3 of these teams kind of slid backwards into the playoffs. And if you stopped at the end of the season and said who's going to be successful, one of the reasons I didn't pick Florida is because they looked like they kind of slid backwards and maybe they were running out of gas after back-to-back Stanley Cup appearances, won championship, that, maybe this team just was run out of gas. They had some injuries. They were able to overcome those in the first couple games of the playoffs and were pretty healthy the rest of the way. But, some of these teams didn't look good going into the playoffs, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think you can look at these teams in particular, though, as being kind of interesting because, like you mentioned before, right? Florida was minus Tkachuk, right?
They were minus Tkachuk, Barkov, and Ekblad.
Right. That's pretty big. And then I think Dallas and Carolina had some shakeups at the trade deadline. Maybe they were trying to figure out what they were doing. So, and then obviously Edmonton had such a bad start to the season that they really needed to be good towards the end of the season in order to they were playing for positioning and stuff, right? So it's interesting though that you mentioned it like that, just because a lot of these teams were not hot coming into the playoffs. They had to get hot during the course of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
and also it's the whole idea of start good and you carry it on through the season. Edmonton is just kind of bucks that curve a little bit. They had a really bad first 14 and then they kind of treaded water for 6 or so, and then they went on this big 23 game heater. I think there was a double-digit win streak in there, if I remember correctly. I don't have that readily available, but I think there's a double-digit win streak. So you don't always have to start off super good,
right,
or end super good. You just have to be
good enough. You have to get there. You just have to get there, and then literally anything can happen because these teams had different stories going in.
So then going over to regular season stats, because playoff stats are kind of difficult because obviously the top 2 teams are just going to be heavily skewed in a lot of counting stats because they play more games than everybody else.
And sample size.
Yeah, much higher sample size. You know, a team could have a bad 5 games to start the playoffs, and that's the end of their run. So, it's just the sample sizes are they're weird to look at, but we will still look at them later on. But we have the regular season stats on the left are, your regular stats, your counting stats, whatever you want to call them. Ones where there's not a lot of math or, expected predictions, anything like that. And for the viewers, all the numbers that are bolded means that is in the top quarter of the league, and all the numbers italicized is the bottom quarter of the league, and then, the mushy middle is just regular numbers. And what is really interesting is that Dallas destroys in the regular numbers. Very high percentage of the goals they score. They score 55% of the goals in all their games. They're 4th in the league in goals for, 6th in goals against. Nobody else was that good in either stat of these top 4 teams. In fact, Florida was middle of the road in goals scored. They're 7th in goals against. Edmonton was middle of the road, 11th for, 14th against. Carolina was top 10. They were 9th for, 10th against. But Dallas was really the only one that was dominant in both goals for and goals against. When you look at goaltending, the save percentage, that's Dallas. They had the 2nd best save percentage in the NHL. Florida's was 14th. Edmonton's was 16th. And Carolina's was 24th. They had the weakest goaltending of all these teams. One of the weakest in the playoffs, which is probably why any media or anybody that was picking going into the playoffs looked at Carolina and said, I just don't think these Hurricanes are going to have it.
Yeah.
Right? Because their goaltending was so rough. And even though Anderson was hurt for a lot of the year and he kind of came back at the end, it was really rough. When you look at face-off percentage, something that, there's a lot of emphasis placed on centers. We'll talk about centers a little bit later. And a lot of emphasis on possession. You'd think, so face-off percentage, really good, right? Really high correlation. Not really. Florida, 49.39% face-off percentage, 20th in the league. Dallas did have a good one at 52.14 for 7th, and then 52.71 for Carolina at 6th. Edmonton just barely over 50% at 12th. So you see that Florida isn't that great at faceoffs. So you think, they're not getting a lot of possessions, or they're not starting with the puck with as many, or starting with the puck on as many possessions, and that would lead to struggles, right? Nope, apparently not. We don't really need faceoff percentage. You would think takeaways are important, right? It's kind of mixed. Carolina was 1st in the league in takeaways. Edmonton was 2nd in the league in takeaways. Then you fall to Florida at 12, and then Dallas at 23. So that's that whole
interesting
defense wins is kind of, takeaways is a very specific defense number, right?
Yeah. You do think about Carolina as being one of those teams that's pretty takeaway heavy, just in the style of play that they have. I would think that Florida would be a little bit higher on that too, and I wouldn't think that Edmonton would be so high.
Yeah.
But Dallas being low here, I think that checks out.
I think it checks out that there may not be high, but I think being 23rd in the league in takeaways is lower than I would expect.
Yeah.
So then, we talk a lot about possession being very important in the NHL, and this next stat of giveaways maybe lends something to that, where Florida's 3rd fewest in giveaways. But then the other 3 teams are kind of terrible. Edmonton's 24th, or in other words, the 9th most giveaways. Dallas is 27th, or the 5th most giveaways. And Carolina gives away the puck more than any other team in the NHL.
That's crazy.
It's crazy to lead the league in takeaways and give away the puck the most. That's wild. So it's just funny to see such opposite ends of the spectrum that you have. You'd think it would all probably be on the low end of giveaways, right?
Yeah.
For your top 4 teams.
Maybe some Carolina fans can enlighten us as to if watching a Carolina game is just watching them skate back and forth.
it's
in the regular
ping pong
season.
On ice.
It's ping pong on ice.
And then also kind of interesting is the stat of D-zone giveaways. So Dallas gave away the puck the 5th most. They had the 8th fewest defensive zone giveaways. So a lot of their turnovers are in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone, which leads to a lot fewer offensive attempts generally than a D-zone giveaway, which lends to probably their good goals against average and their goalies having decent save percentages because they're not being screwed over by defensive zone turnovers nearly as much. But you don't see that flip everywhere. Edmonton is still their 8th worst in D-zone giveaways. Carolina still gives away the puck the most in the D-zone. So yeah, it is interesting to see that flip a little bit. Shot blocking. You hear a lot about, it's the teams that have a lot of effort, a lot of heart, and one of the lead stats in the effort and heart, because those are pretty much impossible to measure, right, is, are these guys willing to get down a shot block? These are 4 of the 5 lowest shot blocking teams in the league in the regular season. Now, that might mean because they have the puck more, they aren't receiving as many shots to block. But to me, that's kind of shocking to look at, to see them being all that low. And then, one of the other ways you try to measure, heart and effort is being physical and throwing hits. And Florida is number 1 in hits. I think it was number 1 by a good bit, if I remember correctly, in the league. But the other 3 teams, Edmonton, Dallas, and Carolina, 30, 31, 32 in hits.
Jeez.
So it's like the extreme ends of the spectrum for these top 4 teams. And then how often these teams get hit? Florida gets hit the quick math in my head 10th most. The Edmonton Oilers get hit the 9th fewest. Dallas gets hit the most of any team, and Carolina gets hit the 6th most of any team.
Jeez.
And then that hits for percentage, which is basically, how many hits you throw in above, the other team. Florida leads by a long shot, and then the 3 of the bottom 4 are Edmonton, Dallas, and Carolina.
That Dallas stat is crazy. 37.43% of the hits in their games were hit by them. Yeah. So they are just getting absolutely railed.
It's just kind of interesting that there's not really a stat in just like the raw counting numbers that correlate success a ton. I mean, goals for percentage is close. These are 4 of the top 11.
Because your goals for percent is going to be, that's how you win games, right? These are teams that won a lot of games, right? But if you look at the other ones, I think it just shows that these teams kind of they got here in very different ways.
Yeah.
Right. They played different styles of hockey. Which it tracks, but you don't expect it to be this different, I think. So that's pretty interesting.
You don't expect to see as many like firsts and 30 seconds in the same stat being like top 4 teams.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy to have the first and the 32nd. PK percentage, I was still correct. Carolina Hurricanes had the best penalty kill in the NHL, which is pretty cool. 83.61%. Stars were 4th, 82. The who else are we? Where the Florida Panthers were 10th, 80.74, and the Oilers were middle of the pack, 16th, 78.16. So all above average teams at killing the penalty. Dallas Stars penalty kill, I remember being especially potent in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, we'll maybe have to revisit that when we get there. And then for power play percentage, all these teams had a worse power play percentage than the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Really?
Yeah. Pens had the 6th best power play in the league.
Wait, Edmonton wasn't top 3?
No, Edmonton is 12th at 23.72. Wow. Panthers, 23.53. That's good for 14th. Stars, 17th, 22%. And The Carolina Hurricanes 18.7%, not a very good penalty or power play rather for them. So everyone's middle of the pack. Hurricanes lagging a little bit behind. Clearly, power play performance in the regular season does not correlate with playoff success.
No, that doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah.
Special teams in the playoffs is very different, although I think penalty kill generally does.
Mm-hmm.
But if we move over towards the advanced column, you start to see a lot more correlation in these models being able to predict pretty well, particularly between Florida, Edmonton, and Carolina. And Dallas is not a team that, analytics favored a lot. But then if you look over at the county stats, they were kind of dominant in goals for, goals against, save percentage.
That's interesting.
Which is interesting. And
thinking about like roster construction, I think like Florida, Edmonton, and Carolina are teams that I think of as having like a very like deep defensive core. Like they have 3 good defensive pairings, right?
Well, Edmonton a little shaky on the
their depth is pair. Surprisingly decent though. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. But then Dallas, both with the injuries that they faced during the regular season, as well as just having a shallower, core in general, I wonder if that is, part of the reason that their stats look different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as far as like the expected goals, Dallas was the only one that performed, and they outperformed their expectations quite heavily. Mm-hmm. Whereas all the other teams performed below their expectations quite heavily. These were expected to be Carolina, the highest goal scoring team in the league, Florida second, Edmonton third, and that was not the case. They were 9th, 10th, 11th. Mm-hmm. Dallas was expected to be 12. They're expected to be just above the playoff line. In terms of those teams, they were 5th. Corsi and Fenwick both love Florida, Edmonton, and Carolina, and they both are not big on Dallas, particularly Fenwick. They really did not do well in Fenwick. They were 20th in the league. And it's really interesting to see just kind of the polar opposite of Dallas being great counting and not great analytically, and the other 3 being great analytically and not counting.
I mean, both of those stats are heavily based on the shots, right? That are done for and against, right? So I think, when you think about eye test and also what we were talking about in terms of like the defensive core of these groups, right? Not Dallas are going to be better at preventing shots, because of that.
So then moving down a little bit, the goals for and above expected, you could just see Dallas was a big outlier in their goals against above expected. They gave up way fewer than anybody was expecting them to, by a large margin. And then Florida and Carolina scored way fewer than they were expected to score.
And Dallas had much better regular season goaltending than any of these other teams did, right? Between Otter and DeSmith having a great season as a backup, right? They really had the best regular season goaltending, and we saw that at the save percentage numbers that we looked at earlier. So,
and then PDO, which is your save percentage plus shooting percentage. This stat is
the luck stat.
Yeah, it's kind of luck personified. Not entirely. I think it'd be inaccurate to call it pure luck, but it is kind of as close as we kind of have to statistical luck. And Dallas was 3rd in the league in PDO. And then the other 3, Florida 25, Edmonton 23, and Carolina 26. So Dallas simultaneously the quote unquote luckiest team, and these other 3 are amongst the bottom 9 in luck. And then shooting percentage, Dallas just kind of destroyed in shooting percentage. They were 5th in the league. But if you look at the actual number, they're 5.37. Next up, Edmonton is at 5%, so just 0.73% lower shooting percentage is 18th. So it's a very small scale.
Like 15% more, right?
What?
Something like that. Like as a percentage of the shot percentage, right?
Yeah.
So it's a decent amount more, but
yeah.
They weren't like crazy outliers there. They're only 5th in the league. So, while being 2nd in the league in save percentage.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they, that results in the 3rd PDO. It means there weren't too many other teams that had that same combination of finishing and save percentage that Dallas did. So.
Yeah, I'll see if I could pull up real quick. The top 3 were Tampa, Winnipeg, and Dallas.
Winnipeg with some good goaltending.
So, yeah, they're kind of all 3 of them have great goaltending, right?
Yeah,
Vasi, Otter, and Helly. So
those are some great regular season goaltenders.
They are. One's a really great playoff goaltender.
That's also true.
And one's up and down pretty decent, and then one's been mysteriously bad. I don't know how Helly's so bad in the playoffs, but then one that I think is really unimportant, but just interesting, as a fan watching, where you feel like, man, my team misses the net all the time. If you're an Edmonton fan, you are very wrong. They miss the net the fewest amount of their shots. Only 30.66% miss. If you're a Carolina fan, you feel like all our shots miss the net. It's because you're correct. They do lead the league in the most shots that miss the net, with 37% of their shots missing.
That's a fun stat.
Dallas with the 10th fewest.
That's a fun stat.
And Florida with the 11th most. Another thing that, a lot of teams or a lot of people make correlate with success is their staying out of the box, right? Is not being shorthanded all the time, not giving the other team a ton of power play opportunities. Dallas did take the 8th, or had the 8th fewest penalty minutes against. Florida's 2nd most. So another one of those stats where it's like teams in the extremes. And then Edmonton and Carolina right around the middle in penalty minutes taken. But then penalty minutes drawn, so Florida takes all those penalties. They also drew the 4th amount of penalty minutes against. So they are goading other teams, and I assume this stat right here is largely going to be Kachuk, Bennett, maybe a little bit of like Erod, Mikkola, where it's guys drawing other teams into taking penalties, and then also the NHL trend of trying to even up penalties as much as possible, not have huge disparities in power play opportunities. But looking back at some of the advanced stats, going into the high, medium, and low danger shots for and against, it is pretty interesting. This does seem to correlate a decent bit. So high danger shots, Florida led the league in high danger shots with 346. Carolina was 5th with 314. Edmonton 10th with 299, and Dallas middle of the road at 16 with 293. Which again leads to a little bit of that luck to have Dallas with the middle of the road high danger shots, but 4th in the league in goals. Shows that they are maybe getting lucky and scoring more than they probably should. But the medium danger shots for seems to be pretty correlative. Carolina was 1st, Dallas 2nd, Edmonton 4th, and Florida 8th. So I believe this is the only stat of all the stats.
They're all in the top 10.
Where they're all in the top the top quarter of the league.
That's crazy. That lines up though. If you think about it, I guess like, those two things together, right? You think about high danger and medium danger kind of together, right? Because those are where you're going to get most of your goals from, right? Are on those types of ones. So the fact that these teams are all good at those, Dallas being a little worse at the high danger, but then their medium danger was really good, right? And you think about, the quality of scorers that they had in their forward group. I'm thinking about guys that are going to score the puck on medium danger chances, right?
Yeah.
So,
And then interestingly, Carolina, Edmonton, and Florida are first, fifth, and second, respectively, in low danger shots for. Dallas, fifth worst in low danger shots for. So they just don't even take them. They will look for a medium danger shot.
Yeah. I'd love to see the statistic on like the percentage of shots taken by defensemen too, because when I think about like a low danger shot, that'd be like a shot from the blue line, probably, right? That then can maybe get cleaned up and turn into a high danger shot off like a ricochet or a deflection or something like that. Something that I think Florida, Edmonton, and Carolina are definitely better at than Dallas is in terms of that kind of thing. And Dallas not really having, with Miro out a lot of the year, right? Not really having a true point man that is willing to take those shots
Harley
from the point.
Kind of, exploded this year for it, but yeah.
Yeah, and he's the only one on the team though, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe all of those low danger shots were just Thomas Harley wagging the net, because I don't think Asa Lindell's doing any of that stuff. So. No.
And I'm pretty sure Edmonton's, like, almost all of those low danger shots are going to be Draisaitl from, like, below the faceoff dot, because he scores there for some reason, the only guy in the league. And then Bouchard taking, like, point bombs.
For sure.
But then when we look at the other side of the whole defense wins championships idea, for high danger shots against, Edmonton allowing the fifth fewest, Florida 11th fewest, Dallas 17th fewest, and Carolina 20th fewest. You just kind of think that a lot of these really good teams would be maybe a bit better.
Yeah, I was
presenting
expecting
these high
those
danger
numbers to
shots.
be better.
And I'm kind of surprised that Edmonton is the team of all of them. If I had to bet on one being maybe giving up a few more high danger opportunities, it would be Edmonton.
No, it's the Stars for sure. See, I would have bet on the Stars. I would have bet on the Stars coming in that they were the ones that gave up the most high danger shots.
I don't know. I feel like the Stars forwards at least would help prevent
maybe so
those more than Edmonton's. And I really would have figured Carolina would have been at the top of that.
Yeah,
if you think like a defense team, it's the Carolina Hurricanes is in the top, 5 or 6 that I'm mentioning. Medium danger shots against Edmonton, giving up the fewest. Florida second fewest. Carolina right in the middle of the pack, 16th fewest, and Dallas 19th fewest. So again, just Edmonton not giving up a lot of those. And then as far as low danger shots against, Carolina cleans all those up. They gave up the fewest. Edmonton 4th fewest, Florida 5th fewest, and then Dallas 24th fewest. So yeah, I was kind of expecting the high danger, medium danger shots against to be maybe a little bit more correlative. Now looking at the playoffs, again, fewer stats because I took out any that are just like raw counting because it's obviously going to be very biased. So looking at regular stats, the goals percentage, so the percentage of goals that they scored. And this is also generally going to be very skewed. That the teams that win more games and go to further rounds are going to have a higher goals for percentage, right? Dallas had the third fewest in the playoffs. They got shelled. They got outscored by a lot. And that kind of checks out when you think back to the end of the Colorado series.
They barely won that series. Like
they kind of got destroyed until Mikko Rantanen woke up and scored like 9 goals in 3 games, and then against Edmonton immediately went back to sleep. So yeah,
the whole team went to sleep against Edmonton.
They got shelled by Colorado and Edmonton, and Rantanen carried them through the end of the Colorado series, and decent goaltending, but Florida first at 62.67%, Carolina third at 53.01%, and Edmonton fifth at 52.9%. And then goal differential, Florida leads by a lot. Edmonton second, Carolina fourth, and Dallas worst in the playoffs of goal differential. The last place team in the playoffs in goal differential.
That's because the other teams that got bounced in the first didn't have as many games to lose.
That is true.
But that's crazy to think about a finalist team being last in goal differential, you'd think.
And then save percentage, which if we remember with the regular season stats, Dallas was second, Edmonton 14th, or Edmonton 16th, Florida 14th, and Carolina 24th. Mm-hmm. Now Florida is first with a 90.98 save percentage. Dallas 6th with an 88.9. Carolina right below that by 0.01% to get 7th. And then Edmonton making as far as they did at 88.24% save percentage for 11th.
Mm-hmm. They definitely didn't have good goaltending performance. Edmonton. I mean, that was a major story, right? And then obviously Bob is very, very good playoff goaltender. So
he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he just has another level. You know,
he does. He's I don't really want to say that he's a very good necessarily a playoff goaltender, because he also has like 2 Vezinas to his name.
Sure.
He's been very good in his career.
At this stage in his career, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this stage of his career, he's a fine to good regular season goaltender who turns it up in the playoffs. And I mean, what could Edmonton be if they had better than Pickard and Skinner? Mm-hmm. You know, which I can't necessarily blame them for that being the combo going out there, because the market is very dry in goaltender land. But I mean, Colorado made aggressive moves to salvage their season with goaltending, so you know it's possible. Sure. Face-off percentage, once again showing it's not correlative. Dallas second in face-off percentage, Edmonton Florida 4th worst, Edmonton 5th worst, and Carolina 5th best. Both Florida and Edmonton upside down in the face-off percentage. So you really don't need to win face-offs, apparently.
Yeah, but at the and you can tell because those are pretty similar to how they were in those numbers are pretty similar to the regular season. That's just how those rosters are constructed, right? Face-off percentage in the regular season does translate into players don't have an extra gear of face-off percentage that they can really inch out. So yeah, Florida being able to succeed as a team that is known for not giving up a lot of shots, being a very defensively oriented team while having such a poor face-off percentage, I think is very impressive.
Yeah.
So
I'd be interested to see if there was didn't find a giveaways or takeaways per 60 minutes or something stat. That is just like raw giveaways and takeaways, which obviously Florida and Edmonton cleared everybody, and then Dallas and Carolina and so on. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe if they're generating a lot of turnovers, then you don't need to win the faceoffs, because you just get the puck back after they get possession. But it is interesting. And then percent of hits for, again, Florida, very physical team. They're only third, though, so they were not the most physical team in the playoffs, which is interesting to me after being the most physical team in the regular season. Edmonton 7th, Dallas 2nd fewest, and Carolina 10th in hitting. So Dallas was not a physical team all year.
Yep.
And Florida was a physical team all year, and that translated into the playoffs. But I mean, Dallas is still able to make it pretty far in the playoffs without being overly physical. So it's interesting. But then it also makes you wonder, what if they were physical? Would that put them over the edge? Or would that end up hurting other parts of their game because their game's built around not being physical? You know?
Well, they're going to be even less physical. I mean, I guess Dumbo has scratched a bunch, but he's a guy that
Dumbo did not play a playoff game, so
that's for sure not a thing there in the regular season though.
Yes, they did probably play. Will. Although Bischel only played. We'll look at Dallas's later, but he only played 38 regular season games before he got his call up, or I guess until he got his call up, right? So he can bring the boom a little bit,
sure,
when he wants to. And then expected goals percentage, which correlated pretty well outside of Dallas being a little bit of an anomaly. Once again, Dallas a little bit of an anomaly. Carolina led the way in expected goals with 56.5% of the goals in the game. Florida, a little bit of a gap here for second to 53.67. Edmonton third, and then Dallas at seventh with expected to get under half the goals in the game. That's because nobody else is generating scoring chances that were not named Mikko Rantanen. And they don't expect Rantanen to score 10 goals in 9 periods.
They did underperform their expected goals, though. So, that's interesting for how poor of a showing they had in terms of the actual goals that they scored. They were projected to score more, despite not being in that same elite tier as the other teams that we're looking at here. So, a little fraudulent, but not quite as fraudulent as, the numbers might say. If you were just looking at, oh, holy shit, they got outscored that much.
And it kind of reinforces in the regular season that they maybe got a little bit lucky. They were scoring goals that they probably shouldn't have. And in the playoffs, they continued getting a little bit lucky until they ran out of luck juice against Edmonton.
And, luck juice can also be player skill, right? I mean, they do have an incredibly skilled set of scoring forwards, right? So, I think there's a lot of that in there. But for sure, if you think about it, those scoring forwards went dry except for Mikko Rantanen when it came to the playoffs, right? So,
Robertson also got hurt and missed some playoff time. Hintz got hurt, but I think that was only like the last 2 or 3 games of the Edmonton series. So, yeah. And then, again, we'll look at Dallas's roster a little bit more because there's some other shocking things I saw in there. Corsi and Fenwick both loved Carolina.
I mean, they're a defensive system team, right? If you think about it, I think those are the stats that are, the most, are you preventing shots? Are you getting shots? Are you, that's what they are, right? So Carolina is very good at shot prevention, very good at taking shots. We saw from their regular season all the low they had a lot of low danger shots, right?
Yeah,
they were number 1 in low danger shots, right? So they're you could point to the quality of the scoring chances perhaps, but in terms of quantity of stuff like that, Carolina's system is a good system.
Yeah.
So
and Corsi is your shots on goal. Or your shot attempt differential at even strength. And then Fenwick is that, but it does not count
block shots. Right?
Yes.
But
then their expected goal differential, Carolina way outperformed their expected goals, as did Florida and Edmonton. Dallas did not. Dallas was far below their expected goals. They gave up about as much as they were expected to. Florida gave up way fewer than they were expected to and scored way more than they were expected to. And that's kind of, I guess, what you got to do to be number 1.
So I'm seeing here that Dallas and Carolina were the 2 worst teams in terms of they're actually finishing, right?
Yes.
So they were expected to get significantly more goals than they did, and they just weren't able to finish. And I mean, Dallas, we talked a bit about injuries and about the guys going cold. And for Carolina, maybe that's just a lack of true stud finishing players, right? I mean, they, for as good as of a roster as they've constructed, right? They definitely don't have those elite guys that you can be, they don't have a McDavid, they don't have a Draisaitl, right? Some of the best pure scorers in the NHL, right? So, it's interesting.
And then PDO. So again, kind of luck the stat. Florida destroyed in PDO. Again, they kind of had the best goaltending in the league, so you're going to do pretty well in PDO if you have great goaltending generally, unless your offense is just completely dead in the water, right? And then Edmonton, Dallas, and Carolina coming in 6, 8, and 10. Shooting percentage, Dallas destroyed shooting percentage in the regular season, did not carry over into the playoffs. They were 12th. Carolina was 13th. Edmonton was 4th and Florida 3rd. Again, for all the Florida fans that said, Carolina fans that said, I swear my team misses the net. Yeah, you're correct. They were second highest shooting percentage or shots that missed the net. 40% of their shots missed the net. Of all shot attempts, 40% missed the net. 27% were blocked. That means only 33% of their shots got through.
Wow.
Whereas you look at,
I mean, that's got it. I mean, that's why the shooting percentage is so low, right? I think we've solved it. I think someone needs to go to the Carolina Hurricanes and say, hey, I think if you guys just shot on target a little bit more, you'd probably score more goals.
Yeah. And then penalties. You think you can't take killer penalties in the playoffs is how you lose games, right? Mm-hmm. Florida took the most penalties in the playoffs. Edmonton took the 6th fewest, Carolina the 7th fewest, and Dallas took the 6th most. So, taking penalties in the playoffs, not necessarily bad, especially when you're drawing the 3rd most. So again, that is, I guess, more proof that Florida is coached to, play on the edge, and the refs will try to even up the game. And you kind of see all the stats correlate that way, right? Where they're pretty even. They're like mirrors of each other on the drawn and taken. And then looking at the power play and penalty kill percentage in the playoffs this year, 3rd highest power play percentage was Dallas at 32.1%. Edmonton was 5th at 25.4%. Florida 6th at 25.3%. And Carolina 7th at 23.1%. And then on the penalty kill side of the house, number 1, Florida at 86.4%. Carolina 2nd at 85.1%. Dallas 5th at 79.7%. And Edmonton 14th, so 3rd fewest at 67.1%. So yeah, Florida lead the way in penalties taken. Also leading the way in penalty kill percentage.
Yep.
So that's kind of how you have to be. If you're going to be reckless, you better cover up.
Yep.
And then also, taking all those penalties means you get to draw a good amount of power play opportunities. And when you're converting at a quarter of them, and teams are on average taking, 4 penalties against you a game, that's basically a free power play goal every game, right? That you're scoring on average.
Yeah, can't be giving those up.
So yeah, it's interesting to look at some things that you thought were maybe really important, not necessarily being important, and expected goals percentages, like my new favorite stat, and expected goals for.
For sure,
that seems to correlate pretty well.
I'd be curious. Maybe sometime in the future we can do a breakdown with like the percentage of the shots that are high danger, medium danger, and low danger, because we have the raw numbers from the regular season. We didn't get any raw numbers from the playoffs because obviously those would be skewed from the different stuff. But but it'd be curious to see what percentage of the teams shots are going to be, and I think if you can take some, maybe you can get something from where good teams are shooting from, right?
So then the next segment, I believe, is going to be you're going to be leading the way on this. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Okay, so the next segment that I have is I titled it "Two C's Are Important," and it is just I think to have playoff success, you need a second center. With this year, Sam Bennett winning the Conn Smythe. I mean, it was absolutely the best player in the playoffs, right? Yeah. And it's, you need that second option in order to really succeed. And so I went back and looked at the last 10 years of playoffs, and I looked at the 2 C's of the Stanley Cup winning teams and kind of gathered a little bit of data on them, so maybe we can see if it's true. And this group of players, I think, is he's really freaking good. Like you look at the 2 C's of these Stanley Cup winners, and you're like, yeah, I mean you get it, right? This is why these teams are so good.
Yep.
So I think I'm gonna start in 2016, and there's absolutely no bias there whatsoever.
Random
like we could either start, at the beginning with, the Penguins, or we can start, last year with the Panthers. I'm going to pick the Penguins. We'll talk about 2016 a little bit. So I actually have data pulled for 2 players here because the Penguins had 2 second lines, basically, but with the Malkin line and then that HBK line that was probably the reason that they won the Stanley Cup that year. Phil Kessel is the GOAT. But Nick Bonino on that line was absolutely fantastic. Was a great center. So I have the average time on ice for them. So Malkin averaged 17:31, Bonino 17:12. So they were pretty similar in terms of how they were actually being used. Both of them scored 18 points in that playoff run.
Crazy, which
is nuts. And I pulled their 5v5 goals 4%. And their 5v5 expected goals 4%, because when I think of like elite 2Cs, I think of guys that aren't power play merchants that are going to be the 5v5 players, because usually that's the kind of role that they fit into. So Malkin had a 5v5 goals 4% of 57.89 and expected goals 4% of 59.56, so just absolutely elite 5v5 play there. Bonino, 5v5 goals for 62. 62% was the goals 4%. He was +9 and plus minus, as that, and 59.8 expected goals 4%. So both of them were just absolutely dominating in 5v5 play. I mean, I think that's a huge reason. No one's going to argue that wasn't a huge part of why they won the cup.
Yeah.
And then 2017, I've got Malkin's stats pulled again. This was a monster year for Malkin. I think he could have won the Conn Smythe. I think he probably should have over Sid. Played 18 minutes a night. Number 1 on the team with 28 points.
That's wild.
Absolutely insane.
Too.
Yeah, 10 goals. That was good for second on the team. He was +9, 60%, 5v5 goals 4%. Just absolutely dominated hockey. His expected goals 4% was actually only 48.08, so might have been a little bit lucky, a little bit of an overperformance. But when you have elite players like we saw with the Florida Panthers in the last segment, right, you're gonna outperform your stats sometimes. So I think this was a very good, really good 2C season. So next up, I've got 2018. It was Nick Backstrom. Played 20 minutes, 37 seconds a night. Was absolutely the 1B.
Yeah.
Right. Put up 23 points, third on the team. He was -1 and didn't have the best advanced statistics in 5v5. I think he was on that power play, right? So he was being a little bit of a power play merchant, if you will. Definitely different type of. Actually, he's a pretty similar type of 2C to Malkin, then, right, in that he's really a 1C playing 2C because the team was just that deep. And I mean that was a massive run from the Capitals in terms of them just getting hot at the right time, being carried from the top, right? So I mean that was a really good team.
And for anybody confused, because they're like, what? Backstrom played on Ovi's line, and he was like with Ovi for a long time. That was the Kuznetsov year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a Kuznetsov year. He actually Kuznetsov played more than Backstrom did. So if we want to talk about Kuznetsov as the 2C in this Stanley Cup run, we also could, and we'd also be extremely impressed because he was absolutely a monster for the entirety of this time.
Yeah.
And speaking of guys who are debatably 1Cs and were an absolute monster in their time, we can talk about Ryan O'Reilly in 2019. And played 21 minutes. Was deployed like a 1C, but was not playing with top wingers. Was just doing things on his own. 23 points, 8 goals, +2, won the Conn Smythe. 5v5 expected goals 4% of 67.35%.
That's insane.
Actual goals 4%, 60.71. I mean, was just absolutely dominating in terms of his 5v5 play and that cup run. And I mean, we talked about it. I think we talked about it a little bit before about the Blues. Just briefly mentioned, Blues were crazy hot in this, right? And Ryan O'Reilly was the one of the big reasons that they were crazy hot. So, and then next up, we can talk about the Lightning. 'Cause they won in 2020 and 2021, and they had a pretty similar roster in both of those years, with their second and third lines being manned by Cirelli and Yanni Gourde. I don't know how much I need to say about those two players. They were just obscene during these two runs, right? I mean, if you think about shutdown lines and lines that can come in there and really play against any line in the game, right, and prevent them from getting those high danger chances. I mean, that's what those lines did. So definitely a different breed of 2C. We'll call it Cirelli, they were deployed relatively similarly, but Cirelli was a different breed of 2C, so doesn't quite have the same explosive numbers, only like 9 points, 3 goals in 2020. His 5v5 numbers look lower. He actually it was 43.75 was the 5v5 goals 4%, but that belies a 52.12 expected goals 4%. So still, I think elite 5v5 play when you think about the kinds of shifts that he was taking. Also played 18-27 a night as a shutdown second line player with was a good run. And then Yanni Gourde in 2020 was nuts. 1404, so he was really the 3C here. We're not going to call him 2A, 2B this year, but 14 points and seven goals from your 3C was plus 12, 69.23% 5v5 goals 4%. I mean, that line was just unreal. They were just unreal, right? So
Coleman and Goudreau.
Yep. Absolutely gross. So, and then 2021, Cirelli had a bit better of an offensive performance, and total performance was 12 points, 5 goals, plus 9, 66.67% goals 4%, 51.10 goals, expected goals 4%. So a similar analytical run to the thing before, but puck luck was going his way a little better. It might have had something to do with Steven Stamkos on his line. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but was absolutely excellent there. Yanni Gourde got even more playing time, 1704 there, 7.6. So we could call him a 2A, 2B this season. Both were just elite. Like, you really need those depth centers in order to be able to do it. And I think that Lightning team was absolutely constructed with the playoffs in mind, just having 2 shutdown centers. So,
and their 1C also being a shutdown.
Well,
a shutdown guy too.
For sure. That was a great team. So, Nazem Kadri, 2022. I mean, hey, there's a reason that the Avalanche have not been back, and I think a lot of it has to do with who they've had at their 2C after McKenna. Like, I mean, Kadri in this run had 15 points, had 7 goals. He only played 16 of their 20 games, so that's 15 points in 16 games.
Yep.
Goals 4% in 5v5, 57.14. Expected 66.33. That's the best analytical season. I guess that Ryan O'Reilly was nuts. But I mean, of similar level to Ryan O'Reilly in 2019, no one's that's crazy. Yeah. So
he could have got a Conn Smythe potentially if he played a full.
If he played the full 20.
McKinnon was also insane. So
I mean, he was okay, but you need 2. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the point here.
I'm saying he might not have been able to take away that Conn Smythe even with the full 20.
Sure, no one's gonna make an argument that 1Cs are not important, right? Every single one of these teams has had an absolutely crazy first center, right? So we're saying here, like, you really need that second guy in order to take it to the next level and actually win. So, and Kadri was that guy, and they have not gotten back since then. So. Other guys, William Karlsson was absolutely nuts in 2023. 17 points, 4th on the team, 1st in goals with 11 goals in the playoffs. I mean, that's Sam Bennett level performance right there. So he was plus 11. It was 78.26% of the 5v5 goals went in his favor. Like, I mean, he was only projected for 51.9 with the expected goals for, so definitely an overperformance. But with that low sample size, and William Karlsson is a shutdown guy at heart. He is a he was taking those hard shifts. Like he was getting defensive zone starts and stuff like that, and he was still able to turn that into such an incredible performance. He was a huge reason that the Golden Knights were able to win there in 2023.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 years we've got Sam Bennett, and I mean Sam Bennett is the current model for what success in the NHL looks like. I think a lot of teams are looking at the Panthers, and they're looking at Sam Bennett as one of the key reasons that they're winning. So in 2024, he underperformed his expected. He was his 5v5 goals 4% was 45.83%. And his expected goals for was 60.59%. So analytically, he was fantastic. He did miss a couple games due to injury in that run, but I mean he was very good. And then this year, 2025, Sam Bennett, one of the best playoff performances from any player. I mean, 22 points, 15 goals, plus 6, 60.71% goals 4%, and a 58.32% expected goals 4%.
Yep.
So analytics said that he deserved that incredible performance that he had. And so obviously the Florida Panthers are a team where teamwork and team success is a big part of why they operate, but it wouldn't be possible without a 2C as elite as Sam Bennett. So. And obviously that was another Conn Smythe. So, you know, I don't know. I had the idea for the segment, and I went and I looked at stats, and I was like, can we, do the stats support what it is that I'm thinking? And I certainly think they do. You either need like that crazy elite Malkin, Ryan O'Reilly kind of like, second superstar to like do it, or you need one of these two-way guys, or you need that two-way guy that's also the crazy elite scorer in the playoffs, like 2025 Sam Bennett or 2023 William Karlsson, right? Where they have these incredible performances despite being more of that, I guess, like two-way, that more defensive player, taking some of the more defensive zone face-offs and stuff like that. So, I
think it's interesting also because if you look at like Malkin, Backstrom, and O'Reilly, those are all 1Cs around most of the NHL at this time. Right? Obviously not today. None of them are 1Cs today. But like in 2016, 17, 18, and 19, those are all 1Cs. That just happen to be 2Cs on their respective teams. But all the guys after that, none of those guys really would be a 1C around most of the NHL. Maybe some teams would choose to deploy Sam Bennett as a 1C. I don't think that would go super well in the regular season, but like we saw, earlier, you just got to kind of get to the postseason, right? But like, not a lot of teams are putting Karlsson as their 1C. Not too many teams are going to put Kadri as their 1C.
One team did.
Yeah, and it's Calgary, and they almost
not very good. But, so not
that's
very
true. Good. And none of these other teams are really fooling themselves into thinking any of these guys are 1Cs. So these a lot of these are true 2Cs, right? Not just overqualified 2Cs.
Finding a guy that can fit the role and fit the mold of what a modern 2C looks like seems to be very important. And that skill set is, I think, extremely difficult to find. Because you need a two-way guy, but you don't want like a three, like you can't have a 3C. You can't have a guy who's really just fully focused on defending. You need someone who truly has that two-way 5v5 specifically play, right? That can actually run a line, but can also be defensive in their own zone, that can take hard shifts when you need them to, but also can be a source of goals and points and scoring. So it's a tough role to fill, but these teams have found it. And if you're a fan of a different team, you should be looking to see what you can find. So
yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to also look at like 3 and 4 Cs throughout this, like how many of them were also, obviously there's a couple 3 Cs on here, with Gordon and Bonino, but like how many teams are also 3 deep or even 4 deep, right?
Yeah. I mean, Florida certainly is, right?
Yeah.
Chandler Stevenson wasn't washed in 2023.
No, he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
JT Compher in 2022 is he's an okay 3C. He's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously Yanni Gord. 2019 St. Louis. I don't remember who their 3C was.
I don't either. So probably they weren't 3 deep.
Probably not Sundqvist yet.
No, I think he's the 4C, right?
Yeah. And then Washington, Lars Eller.
Lars Eller, that was a good run from him. He's a good player.
Lars Eller's like a Hall of Fame third. Like if you had like a Hall of Fame for like just bottom 6 guys, like Lars Eller's in there. Dude, that guy's a goat of bottom 6 play.
Yeah, he and Yanni Gord would both be in that. In that.
2 Cs are important.
2 Cs are important.
And moving now into a team that does have a very good 2C, into a little bit of a roster breakdown. Yeah, and I mean, respectable 4C. Gonna do a roster breakdown of the Dallas Stars. So for all the viewers, you're looking at a lot of numbers on your screen right now. Maybe not the most visually compelling display of information, but I think
is a hockey nerds equivalent of the like the cork board with like the red strings running through it and stuff like that.
A little bit,
like,
yeah.
Look at
my a little bit, but it is kind of all the information on one page. Whereas I went through a lot of pages to get all this information. By the way, all this stuff came from Puckpedia and Elite Prospects. Also, shout out Money Puck, who did my advanced stats segment is almost entirely Money Puck. But yeah, the Dallas Stars is interesting here. So you have the core team at the top, and then the press box minor section, which these are guys who appeared in NHL games. And then minors are just pure guys who were in the minor leagues. And then prospects are players who have not hit the AHL or ECHL. And then colors, you have the numbers on a white background, regular season, numbers on a silver background are playoffs, because, Stanley Cup and Calder Cup are both silver trophies. Orange on their contracts means expiring this year. So these are, your pending expirations. Red means they are expired, which Dallas only has the one in their minor system. Other teams have a lot more red that have not done their contracts. And then green are new additions. I think that's everything we need to get started with. So I will start off to the side. They have 1.9 million in cap space left, so they're kind of done, I think. Although there are still rumors swirling around with Jason Robertson.
Yeah.
Who starting top left, we'll start with him.
Sure.
And it's interesting. I don't know how they're going to be able to afford to retain him, Harley, and Bork moving forward. Even with the cap increase next year, I still think Harley and Bork are going to command a lot more money, and Robertson probably a little bit more than his $7.7 million, especially after having almost a point per game season this year. Played the full 82, got hurt in game 82. 35 goals, 45 assists for 80 points, a plus 10, and a 60% expected goals for percentage.
Wow.
Really dominant regular season this year, but he didn't necessarily feel super dominant.
I mean, he's not a very flashy player, I would say.
Yeah.
You don't look at him and think like, oh, he's like elite. He's I mean, a 35 goal season is great. Like, honestly, that's amazing, right? But you don't look at him and think of him as like an elite goal scorer. You don't think of him as an elite playmaker. He's not ever the fastest guy out there on the ice, right? But he just is really good at everything he does, right?
Yeah.
So, they need to pay this guy.
They either need to pay him or they need to get a
equivalent value,
equivalent top 6 winger, at a reasonable price point, because like you're not going to be able to get a guy that is going to cost a lot more than Jason Robertson.
No.
And they are going to need a guy that's not expiring this offseason either, because that creates the same problem. A guy expires in 2 off seasons, it's not as bad, because they have some big money coming off the books at that point.
We'll get there.
And then I think part of their playoff struggles was not having Robertson healthy. He played 11 of the 18, missed the first 7. So, the least important ones to miss, right, is the first round if your team makes it past the first round. But I don't think he came back healthy. I think he came back good enough to get cleared medically. He had 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points. He was a -5. Still had good expected goals for percentage at 56.
He looked pretty decent against the Oilers compared to a lot of the other players. On this roster. So and then Rope Hintz in the middle. Also Robertson, 2nd round pick in 2017. That's going to be a common theme.
A lot of
Stars is a lot of
draft
non-first round picks.
A lot of draft picks here. Another non-first rounder, Rope Hintz, 2nd round pick in 2015. 76 games, 28 goals, 39 assists, 67 points, a +18 and a 55% expected goals for percentage. He is fantastic. I don't know if he is a Stanley Cup winning 1C.
Yeah, we haven't yet done the 1Cs are important segment yet.
Right.
If that ever happens, but
right.
He definitely. I think he's got a little bit of that 2C cut in his jib. He'd be a very elite 2C. He's surrounded by elite wingers here. Yeah. On the Stars, so like that's a really, really good thing for him. He was okay in the playoffs.
Yeah, 17 games, 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points, and a -2.
I wouldn't say he was like fantastic.
Yeah.
Certainly not taking over any of their games or rounds, really, right? So
not really, no.
Yeah.
I think he could be a 1C that wins the Stanley Cup, but I don't think he's like a guy that I'm confident is.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Braden Shen, right? With St. Louis.
Yes.
Yeah. If the stars align, stars align, then
Yeah.
I think he could.
Wyatt Johnston has a crazy. If he was able to have a Ryan O'Reilly, he's the kind of player that could go on that kind of run, right? So
yeah, or Audra as that 2019 Bennington season, and
yeah. There's the right kind of tools around him for him to be the complementary piece for this team to go really far. But as a 1C, that the Stars are not constructed like the Avalanche or the Oilers or something like that, right? Where they have, or even the Panthers, right? Where they have an elite 1C that is, top of the league.
Yeah. What they do have an elite player of is Mikko Rantanen, who they acquired at the trade deadline this year. Very highly paid, and they kind of painted themselves into a corner. We're sitting here saying, how are they going to afford Robertson, Harley, and Bork moving forward? Decent part of that reason is because they gave Rantanen $12 million, which he's worth $12 million, right? 82 games, 32 goals, 56 assists, 88 points. That's combined. I didn't bother to break those down between Dallas and Colorado because that's just more numbers on the screen. and a 60% expected goals for percentage in the playoffs. 18 games, 9 goals, which he scored all those in about 4 games. 13 assists and 22 points, and a -3.
Yeah.
Extremely good player. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be interesting if they end up losing Robertson, Bork, or Harley, or 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Like, is that going to be worth it?
Right.
I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. And then the second line here, very different from that first line. That first line, 25, 28, 28 years old.
Yep.
These are the old guys here.
Yeah.
This is where they put all the vets. Jamie Benn is... I think they're going to want to not have Jamie Benn as a second-line winger on this team. But they don't have a ton of other options. Mm-hmm. 35 years old. 5th-round pick in 2007. So, again, another player built through the Star system. Only making $1 million this year on his new contract. Yeah. Has a full no movement clause, but a significant reduction from his $9.5 million he was making.
They're so happy about that.
Oh, yeah. In the regular season, he was still pretty decent. Mostly third line, a little bit of second line. 80 games, 16 goals, 33 assists, 49 points, and a +3. Good expected goals for percentage. In the playoffs, he was rough. 18 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, and a -11. But sort of good expected goals for percentage. It just was not working out for him. Mm-hmm. And then at 2C, you got Matt Duchene, who was a summer 2023 free agent pickup, 34-year-old, on a very nice contract.
This might be, I mean, it's probably not going to age well towards the last, year or 2 of it, but right now, last year and this year, this is one of the best contracts in the NHL. I mean, getting a point per game player on a $4.5 million contract.
Yeah,
Matt Duchene is extremely good, and is the kind of 2C that could win that could win for sure.
100%. But yeah, like say a point per game, 30 goal scorer in the regular season. Rough playoffs. I did not remember him having this bad of a playoffs. 18 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points, and a -16.
-16 is crazy.
Which, plus minus is, a debatable stat, but a -16 is wild.
He had 6 points, so that means they were gave up 22 goals while he was on the ice.
Gave up 16. Right. Yeah.
Right, because he had 6 points, so then they gave up 22 while he was on the ice.
Yeah.
That's
that's
a lot of goals.
Not great, Chief. Tyler Seguin, he is, and this is kind of unfair, kind of the problem with this team right now.
I mean, this is easily the worst contract that's here, right? And a lot of we talked about Rantanen as being a big reason, but if they didn't have this contract biting them in the ass, then they would be they would not be in this situation at all.
No, because then you could give Robertson $2 million of it. You could give Harley 3 or 4, and then you can give Bork 2 or 3, and then boom, you know.
Yeah.
Because right now that $9.8 million for the next 2 years, on with a full no movement clause. He's 33, acquired in 2013 in a trade, in the summer trade. When he's healthy, he's still good. 20 games, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points, +15. Was pretty dominant. That was through the first 20 games of the season. Then got hurt, missed the entire rest of the season, came back in the playoffs, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points, and a -3. He's a good player. He still is a good player, but he's just injured all the time.
Yeah.
And he's making a ton of money. And if his contract expired this year, it wouldn't even be that bad. Because then you could just basically tell Harley, Bork, and Robertson, let's ride out the year. I know you want your extension early. Let's ride it out. Sagan comes off the books. We'll give him a Ben deal. And then, we'll figure out how to distribute, the rest of the money to you guys. But with him having another year after this, that's tough.
That's a big bind that they're in.
And then moving on to their bottom 6, this is a bit of an issue, I think.
Yeah.
There are some players I really like.
They lost Marchment, I think, was such a huge point of their wing depth.
Yeah.
Was Mason Marchment. So
lost Marchment and Dodonov in this bottom six on their wings. So they have Oscar Beck, who in his rookie year last year's a third-round pick in 2018, 73 games, 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points, and a +1, and a 41% expected goals percentage. Kind of got shelled in the shifts. Not bad, though, for a bottom six rookie. But
I'm assuming that's not 5v5 too, right? Because he's on their penalty kill, right? So
I don't know. There's whatever Puckpedia has for their expected goals for percentage.
Interesting. Because you'd expect third line player and like bottom six players to be lower on this because they're generally going to be getting harder shifts and be outskilled and stuff like that. But I mean that is pretty low. So,
and then especially like on this Dallas team that had like a decent, they had a decent expected goals for percentage, right? Not amazing. And then the playoffs, 11 games, 2 assists, -2, 23% expected goals for percentage, just absolutely shelled in the playoffs.
Yeah, but didn't, I mean, only a -2, right? Means that that was not as shelled as he could have been for sure.
A lot of the shots hitting the goalie, not a lot going in the net. So not the worst. But I think if he's ideally is someone you probably want on your fourth line. Unless takes a big jump, right? Unless takes a big jump.
For sure. Well, he is surrounded by an extremly good third line center that could potentially help him make the jump. I think Wyatt Johnston, 22 years old, first round pick in 2021. I mean, just got his extension. I think this is one of the most exciting young players in the NHL. For sure.
100%.
I mean, he's 22. He had a 71-point season last year. Played all 82. I mean, this is a guy that when Duchesne, Ben, Sagan are gone, he's going to be the staple of their top six, right? He's going to be a guy. And now having him as their 3C is just means that they are so stacked with talent. In the forward position, at least down the middle, right? So,
and he's a 3C by label,
but not by deployment.
A lot. He is like the go-to whenever there's a winger injured in the top six. He's like the go-to promotion to go play in a top six role in the wing.
We'll see how much they're able to do that this year with a little bit less depth. But and
he's also like really good in the playoffs in his short career. This year he has a -16, which is rough. But last year he had 10 goals, 6 assists, 16 points, and a +4 in the playoffs. And the year before his rookie year, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points, and a -4. So he's already up to 32 points in 3 seasons in his first 3 years, playoff points, which is really good, right? There are much better players that have fewer points in the past 3 years in the playoffs than Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, I think a lot of Dallas's long-term success, besides figuring out the contract Tetris that they've kind of put themselves into, is going to be on Wyatt Johnston making a big leap. I think if he makes a leap and is a first line, like a 1C caliber player with the kind of scoring touch that he showed, 33 goal season, right? With the kind of scoring touch that he showed and the couple of like streaks that he had a point streak, a goal streak. I don't remember what exactly it was that he had, but he just got crazy hot. At around the midpoint of the season. Like if he can be that player all the time and they get to move Hintz down to like the second line and then and he's just like taking over games. He's the kind of player that could. He's 22 years old. He just had an amazing season. If he takes another leap this year or next year or whenever, that's the kind of thing that is going to make it so that the Stars are like real, and they are Stanley Cup contenders. I don't think we led with that. I like this. This is a team that deserved to be in the Western Conference Finals last year, and I think will probably, if I had to make a bet, will make it there again, right? But in order for them to really win a cup, right, I think it's going to be on Wyatt Johnston to really make a jump. So,
yeah. And then another guy they're hoping makes a jump is Maverick Bourque, who at 23 just signed a very favorable $950,000  1 year extension. First round pick in 2020. I think Bourque is one of the more overrated young players in the league. The idea that he was going to command like this huge RFA market, maybe like offer sheets, 73 games, 11 goals, 14 assists, 25 points, +6. Played a lot of third and fourth line minutes, right?
Yeah. There's a crowded group ahead of him. This year is really going to be the big one for him, right? If he can produce on this line, because I think he was playing a lot of fourth line last season, right?
Yeah, a lot of. I think it was mostly third, but yeah, he played some fourth line for sure. And I mean, odds are Ben and Sagan not going to be fully healthy for the full 82, right?
He's going to have his chances.
So he should have an opportunity to play in a top 6 role at some point this year. Be interesting to see if he takes it. And then the playoffs this year, he was barely played at all. Not for health reasons. 3 goals, no points, and a -1. He was healthy scratch for most of the playoffs. So, yeah, I think they're going to definitely want him to take a big step, or use him as potential trade bait.
Yeah.
Then the fourth line. This is one of my favorite players on the Stars, Sam Steele. I love him as a fourth liner. 27-year-old, $2.1 million, which is a little rich for a fourth line, but with the cap going up, not such a big deal. 79 games, 6 goals, 19 assists, 25 points, and a -6. I mean, not numbers that jump off the page at you, but
good numbers for a fourth liner.
Yeah, and like, just there's some games, and it felt like a lot of his goals were like big goals. In games. From what I remember watching, it wasn't just like, oh, Sam Steele scored the 5th goal in a 7-1 win, right? It felt like they were bigger ones. There's more that stand out in my mind that makes me surprised there was only 6 goals. So I think he scored like some big goals in big moments. The playoffs, I mean, decent for a fourth liner, right? 18 games, 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points, and a -1. Got shelled a little bit, but a -1, 7 points from your fourth line winger, I feel like you take that.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly serviceable fourth liner.
Yeah. And then their only core team ad is Radek Faksa, who they're bringing back. Was a Dallas Star for a long time. Brought him in the summer in free agency, $2 million, 3 years. Which I think is a perfectly fine contract. 70 games with St. Louis last year, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points, and a -2. And then the playoffs, his expected goal score was pretty low, but in 7 games, a goal, 4 assists, 5 points, and a +7. I mean, if you can get, a kind of a playoff gamer as your 4C, I mean, this is that depth, right? That we were talking about. With the 2Cs are important. And looking at
no, I mean
how often are 3 and 4Cs good?
There's a 4 deep center pool for sure. Fox is a good bottom 6 center for sure.
Yeah. So. And then my namesake Colin Blackwell rounds out this top 6. Played 63 games last year. Was a healthy scratch for some, but Sagan also missed most of the season, so he did get a good amount of games, and projects to get a good amount of games this year unless somebody's going to come up from the minors and take a spot from him. 6 goals, 11 assists, 16 points, and a +4. And then the playoffs, 11 games, had just the 1 goal and a -5. Yeah. He's not a top 12 player, to be honest. but he's the cheap option that they have.
Yeah. And interesting, we talked a bit earlier about the Stars like hits. They were one of the most hit and one of the least hitting teams. And this fourth line is not the most physical, I would say.
No. Blackwell will throw hits, but Steele and Fox are not hitters. So I actually saw Fox actually had 115 hits last season, which would make him second on the Stars. Wow. Okay.
So, not the biggest, again, those aren't the hugest hitting numbers, but, maybe a little bit more physicality that they've added to their back end. I think this forward group is the strength though of the Stars team, despite a couple of misgivings and some questions, maybe a little bit about the bottom six, but the defense group is extremely top heavy. And we'll see. Yeah. There's a lot of questions on the back end of this defense for sure.
Yeah, there's a ton.
So Asa Lindell, who is on a very, very good contract, $5.2 million for the next 5 years. Who was also product of the Stars' third-round pick.
Yep.
In 2012. God, they are really good at getting value out of these late picks. So I mean, this is a great. He's just a shutdown. He's just a shutdown first pairing defenseman. I think he performs that job adequately. He's one of the best of it in the league. Was plus 34.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I've seen 45% expected goals, 4%. I think that's probably a product of being such a heavy defensive zone star. Like just played so. If you're in the defensive zone, this is the guy that you want. And playing the game, and he's going to be a big reason why the Stars penalty kill was so good, right? This is just an elite defenseman, and so which is fantastic to pair with one of the best, a very good offensive defenseman in Miro Heiskanen, right? Playing on his side, their first round pick in 2017. $8.4 million for the next 4 years, so he's locked up for the time being. They're probably happy with that, and really only played 50 games, missed some time, missed some playoffs, right? That was probably a big part of why they got a little bit shelled in some of the games that they did. But Miro is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. He's top 10 defenseman in the NHL for sure.
Yep.
You can make arguments for whatever higher that you want, but he's definitely top 10, and I think he's a big reason why this why this blue line is able to do anything, right?
Oh yeah.
He's logging heavy minutes. He's power play quarterback. He's penalty killing. Like he's doing all this stuff. So
yeah, you take these two guys away, and this blue line is like tragic, right?
Yeah.
It is rough. It is very, very top heavy. Well, I guess plus the next guy you're probably going to talk about.
We can talk about Thomas Harley, who at 23 years old was a first round pick in 2019 and had really just a breakout year.
Yep.
Played 78 of the 82 games, 50 points, plus 32, 56 expected goals, 4%. I mean, when Miro was gone, he had to do it all.
Yeah.
As the offense, as the offensive defenseman on this thing, this was not a deep defense core. I mean, they had Cody Ceci playing significant amounts of time in top four pairings, Matt Dumba, right? So Harley really had to do a lot last year, and he really stepped into that role. And I mean, that's part of the reason that it's going to be tough to hold on to him, because there's definitely other teams in the league that are looking at him thinking that he could be a number one option.
Yeah.
And I mean, you surround him with the right kind of talent, and he proved that he could be last year.
Yeah.
So
he played on Team Canada for Four Nations whenever they had multiple defense injuries. And I think he had a goal in his two Four Nation games.
I do not remember.
If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure he did for Canada. So we're talking about that level player, right? That's towards the top of Canada's list.
Yeah, I mean that top 20 to 30 defensemen in the NHL, maybe, in terms of like offensive overall potential and stuff like that. I think I think he's going to demand quite a bit of money this year, and they're gonna want to pay him. Yeah. He's going to be worth it. Whatever the number is that he says, he's going to be worth that amount of money. You want to talk about Bush?
Yeah, so this blue line really falls apart from here.
I'll take the good half, you take the bad half, you know?
Yeah, that top three is like amazing, right? Absolutely, like a core that you want to build around for a cup team. Yeah. Lyubushkin at 31 years old, $3.2 million. I mean, he's a good foot soldier, right? 80 games, 14 points, +5. I've seen a lot of Lyubushkin. He was a Toronto Maple Leaf as well. He played first pairing minutes next to Morgan Riley, and like he looked okay. He looked okay, but he looks okay everywhere he goes, right? Yeah. Which there's value to that, right?
Player.
There's value to that whenever you have a guy like Haskin get hurt. That, you know, he can be flexible and play well. You know, if he's on a third pair, I'm super happy. I'd love to have Lyubushkin on my third pair. Maybe not making $3 million, but you give Lyubushkin $1.5 million to play on my third pair, I'm super happy. Looking at him on a second pair making double that is dicey. Then on your third pair, they have Liam Bichelle, first round pick in 2022. He made his NHL official debut. I think he played a couple games the year before, like his cup of coffee. Last year in the regular season, 38 games, 9 points and a +2. And then the playoffs, he played quite well. Only had the 1 assist in the 18 games, but was a net 0 and a 57% expected goals for percentage. He showed that he belongs in the NHL. I don't think there's any way you could send him back down to the minors, where he did play 28 games for the Texas Stars, had 9 points and a +9. I think this guy is officially an NHL top 6 defenseman at this stage. He is massive and plays big, which you know I love when a big boy plays big.
Yeah.
But he doesn't play out of control from what I've seen. Like, he would get challenged to fights a lot, and he picked his spots. But he wasn't like Matt Rempe with New York, where it's like anybody wants to drop the gloves and he just like immediately throws them off. He doesn't seem to play it too out of control.
Oh,
and
we'll see if he
looked good in the playoffs for a rookie, right?
Yeah, definitely a good playoffs from him. We'll see if he can increase the physicality a little bit of this team. You know, he definitely looks, like you say, he definitely looks like he belongs. We'll see what his actual ceiling is as an NHL player. I mean, he's not the most skilled guy, but definitely, you know, belongs, right? So they're certainly happy to have him in his ELC.
There's 2 years left on his ELC before you got to go into mode.
They're very happy about that.
Yeah. Expires at the same time as Sagan, you know, so, you know,
and then
could be good. And then their last spot here really could go to anybody. Nils Lundqvist is the guy that played the most at the NHL level last year, so he's the guy that I put in here. At 24-year-old, he was a summer trade in 2022 from the Rangers on the last year of his $1.2 million. And he's had such an up and down run with Dallas, where like there's stretches where he looks really good and stretches where he looks really bad. Then he gets benched or he gets sent down to the minors. And it's been kind of this, especially with DeBoer. DeBoer would like call him out and, you know, bench him a lot whenever he would, you know, have bad games, which sometimes he'd have really bad games, right? But last year it looked like he was kind of getting consistent finally, but got hurt and missed the entirety of the rest of the season. In the playoffs, he played 39 games, just the 5 assists, but a +4 and a 52% expected goals for percentage, which doesn't sound all that great, but he is a undersized defenseman. I don't have it offhand right now, but he is five something.
Those are great numbers for a defense, like for a low, like a third pairing defenseman, right? He's a 6 foot 192. Is what I've got it.
He is a pretty much offense only defenseman though.
Yeah.
Where he came out as that kind of had no defensive game and decided to develop it. And this year he kind of looks like he's put together a defensive game. You know, the offensive numbers aren't really there, but
he's a guy that they'd love to take a bit of a leap, right? With a little bit more of a ceiling on him, with him having a more consistent year. If he could be like a second pairing right-handed defenseman and they can sign him for a reasonable contract because he is an RFA after this season, right? So they are going to have to figure him out along with Bork, Robertson, Harley, right? That's going to be a tough free agent class to do. But they'd really love to be able to play him. And maybe they can ship off Bush to free a little bit of money.
Yeah, and unless he has an explosive year this year, I don't think he'll be too hard to resign. Because he hasn't really proven himself to be consistent yet. And then in the press box, they do have three guys. Two of them I think could see decent NHL time this year. Koyachanik is who they acquired from the Penguins in exchange for Matt Dumba and a second-round pick.
He's way better than Matt Dumba, but I wouldn't say he's offering too much to this already lefty-heavy group. You know, he's probably an NHLer, still up in the air a little bit about that, but you know. He's depth for if somebody goes down. I think they'll be happy that he's there. So
yep. And then the other option they have down here is Alex Petrovic, who has been pretty much a career AHLer. Has had a few cups of coffee here and there around the league. He's 33. He has been at the Texas Stars since 2021, so he's been there for a while. Played just the 5 regular season games last year, so otherwise not much of a guy of note. However, he did play 17 playoff games, played playoff games over guys like Matt Dumba, and played all but one playoff game, had a goal, an assist. He was a -1, had really good possession metrics, and he kept his spot when Heiskanen came back into the lineup. They decided to run 11 forward, 7D instead of sending Petrovic back down into the press box or back up to the press box, and kind of proved himself as like a playable guy in the playoffs. And I kind of wonder a little bit if they should look at trading him if they're not done, because I don't know that he necessarily clears waivers right at the end of the summer.
There could be a chance someone would take him.
Yeah, a team that's like sitting there like, man, we don't have a 6th defenseman on this roster. Or a team that's like really trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel in the budget. A team like Vegas, right, who doesn't have much money but would like to add another defenseman, could totally scoop up a guy like Petrovic, right? A team that doesn't necessarily need a regular season performer, but just like a decent 6th playoff defenseman. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets scooped up. And then Kyle Capobianco, he's a career AHLer, played a game. Was a -2 and a 12% expected goals for percentage.
That's wow.
Which, like, single game expected goals for is
obviously, but that just
really not a relevant stat. But I mean, that's
no points while he's on the ice, and
yikes. that's a rough one game he played for Dallas.
Yeah, I would not expect to see him unless there's a lot of injuries. So
yeah,
you want to move on to net?
Yeah, we got the Otter, Jake Ottinger. 26-year-old, first-round pick, 2017, same draft as Miro and Robo.
What a good draft.
Yeah. signed to his $8.25 million by 8-year contract, which is the standard rate of non-Dostal starters in the NHL these days.
Yeah.
And he is really good. A 36, 18-4 record, 909 save percentage, which is a little lower than you'd want. But 2.59 goals against average and a goal saved above expected of 10.65. I mean, he was fantastic. And then the postseason, he was solidly good.
Yeah.
9-8 record, 905 save percentage, 2.82 goals against average, 4.67 goal saved above expected. Definitely was not the reason that they did not beat Edmonton.
Hey, don't tell that to Pete DeBoer. So
according to Pete DeBoer, he was the big reason. I think,
and that's why Pete DeBoer is no longer the coach of the Dallas Stars.
True, just mind-boggling. I would say it is the lack of goal scoring was the biggest issue.
I mean, we saw their we saw some of their advanced statistics, right? They just didn't have those, right? Their goaltending was not the issue. It was the skaters in front of Otter. So
yeah, and I think until the Edmonton series, Otter was statistically the second best goalie in the playoffs.
I'd believe it. He's definitely a goalie that is good enough to be your franchise starter. That is good enough to be to win a cup. He's not in the, I would say, like the super duper elite like tier of goalies, but he's like right outside of that.
Yeah.
And so I think that is perfectly capable of winning a cup. Like you're happy to have him in that.
And I do want to do a future segment on like you don't necessarily need a superstar goalie to win a cup.
Right.
Like you need
just
a superstar
goalie
center,
to get hot.
A superstar 1C or a superstar. You kind of don't even need a 1D technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just need a goalie that can get hot, and Otter definitely can get hot.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And Casey DeSmith was also a super, super duper serviceable backup.
Yeah.
You love to see it from your backup having a 915 save percentage, played 27 games. So, was able to take some of the load off of Andre and was good, like really good in those games. So
15.86 goal saved above expected.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have played in the playoffs if I'm being completely honest. But
I think he appeared because in a couple games where Jake had a rough start, and then
did he just get pulled when he
last one where like
that was the one I was referring to was that he should not have been in that in that game. But I mean, you literally could not ask for more from your backup goalie making $1 million a year to be a very, very good backup. So one of the best backups in the NHL last year, especially for his contract. So did you have any guys you wanted to talk about in the prospect or minors pool, guys that you think might make a contribution to the team next year?
Not really, and I think that's almost a little bit of a story in that there's not a lot more coming right now. They had Huru who came up. He played 5 games. He was, I think he was. I remember him. I think I was at his game where he got an assist. It was one of the 2 Stars games I went to last year. I can't remember though. It might not have been him. But in the AHL. He's a good AHL player. In the NHL, 5 games, 1 assist. AHL, 67 games, 49 points and a +15 in the regular season. And then in the Calder Cup playoffs, 14 games and a +8. And I don't know how to say this last name. Herkoian, also 24. Also played 5 games in the NHL. Also had 1 assist, but he was a +1 instead of a +0. So, way better than
way better.
And he was almost a point per game in the AHL and a +15 and was over a point per game in the playoffs as a +4. He is one that I think could be a guy. Undrafted free agent. They pulled out of Europe last year. Both him and Huru last summer, UDFAs. I think he's a guy that they could look to call up if there's an injury into the top 6. Or could battle a guy like Blackwell for a bottom 6 role.
Yeah.
And has some pedigree in the AHL playoffs at least. 9 goals, 9 assists, 18 points in 14 games. I mean, that's great.
That is great.
If you can bring any of that to the
we'll see.
To the NHL, maybe. But then there are other forwards. There's not a lot here.
Yeah, they're definitely a little short on depth, which is something to be expected from a team in this stage, right? Where basically their depth has all made it to the NHL, right?
Yeah.
They've got Johnston and Bork, Robertson, Bichelle, right, came up this last year, right? So they're fully in all the guys are here. So if they've got significant injuries or players are underperforming or something like that, they're in the stage of, I mean, we're gonna have to trade, we're gonna have to find something. But in terms of like the overall outlook of this team, mentioned it briefly. I think these are contenders. I wouldn't put them as favorites to win the Stanley Cup, but I would not be surprised if they made it to the Cup Finals. Or even that surprised if they won the Stanley Cup, if they were getting some good performances. I think we've outlined a couple of key players that we think are going to need to make some jumps in order for this team to really hit that next level of being cup contenders. But I mean, hard to be upset with the level of continued success that they've had for the last few years. Besides that, it hasn't resulted in a cup, right?
Yeah.
So
no cup, but lots of conference finals. The one, Stanley Cup final appearance in 2021, right, when they lost to Tampa, and I think they've been a conference finalist almost every year. Since 2020.
I'd expect them to repeat that at least. So let's hope they can. Let's hope they can take the next step.
Less confident, but
looking at your hat, I think we.
Yeah, I'm not wearing the conference finalist hat this time. But yeah, I think they're definitely a top team in the West. Exactly where they rank is debatable, but yeah, I think this team is really good. I do want to highlight there is a couple defensemen that could potentially be on the way. They were skipped over. Bertucci and Kyrou are both second-round picks, one from 2022 and one from 2023. Kyrou has struggled so far in his development, and Bertucci has only played in the OHL. So this is going to be his first year in the AHL, is joining the roster. Unless he gets sent to the ECHL for whatever reason, but I think that'd be a mistake. But yeah, these are two guys who potentially could be on the way in the defense, but, it's to be determined for them. And then I don't think there's any of the unsigned guys that are overly exciting looking. Meneshian has been pretty decent over in the NCAA. He was a 4th-round pick. Could be a guy. And then in the forwards, it's a bunch of minor league guys or juniors players, so it's kind of hard to say, how good any of them will be. Yep. But yeah, I think the Stars, they're an interesting team. I think they're going to be quite good. I think they're unfortunately in the West. Well, I know they're unfortunately in the West. And the West is really good. I think they'd easily be a conference finalist in the East. And especially if they put them in the Metro.
I mean, any playoff team could win the Metro.
That's kind of true. And then lastly, I do have their draft pick stockpile. They do not have a first this year. They have a second and a third. So if they want to ammo up at the deadline, they can get a decent-ish bottom to middle player, but not a top level player. They have their first next year if they want, or their first in 2027 if they want to load up. And in 2028, they've already emptied the war chest in the first and second round. So they have some picks.
Hey, by next year, they'll have their 2029 picks available to trade from. So, and this is a team that I would not expect to pick very much in the first round for the next few years, as they're in their window. I think their window is pretty extended here with Otter, Heiskanen, Robo, all these guys in their just entering their prime here, right? They've got they're gonna have to reload at some point that second line with Ben, Duchesne, and Sagan, right? They're gonna have to bring in some more guys, but that's not out of the question. I think this is a team that is probably going to be they're very good at drafting, as we discussed a little bit. So they'll probably find a guy in the second or the third that can contribute at the NHL level, but they're probably not going to be picking too often, if I had to guess. I think they're going to have to spend to compete with these other Western teams that are just nuts. So
yeah, I count 11 of the 20 guys who are projected to be in the starters or in the on getting dressed game one are draft picks.
That's really impressive. So
yeah,
definitely a good job done from them. So
yep.
All right, so next we're going to start our little bonus content section. I've prepared a little bit of trivia for Colin, who's as you guys know, a Penguins, Leafs, and Stars fan. So I've today prepared all of the currently active players that play for the Penguins and Leafs, and we're going to see how many of them Colin can name.
So now, just to clarify, these are not necessarily current Leafs or Penguins roster players,
but these are all players that played last season in the NHL.
Right.
Yes.
Anywhere in the NHL.
Anywhere in the NHL.
Previously played.
And they have previously played for
the Pittsburgh Penguins or the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Both the Penguins and the Leafs, yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So there's 13. I do want to shout out a hockey reference for making this extremely easy to find.
Yes.
So, but I have, so we got 13 players.
Okay.
And, go ahead and start naming some guys whenever you feel like it.
All right. There's a super easy one off the top. It's your boy, my boy, Kasperi Kapanen.
Yep.
There's one that comes to mind. I don't know if he's active technically. Is Phil Kessel still? Is he retired officially?
He's not officially retired, but he didn't play last year, so I don't have him on this list.
Okay.
But definitely both a Penguins and Leafs legend. Post, so
yes. Played last year. Man, this is tough. I'm going to say that is. I don't think Nick Bonino played for the Leafs at any point. Philip Hollander doesn't count, does he?
No, I don't have Hollander here. He's not yet actually played for.
He's not played a game for you?
I don't think so. I didn't see him. Okay. I didn't see him on my list.
He didn't play last year. I know he was in Sweden last year, and he's back with the Pens this year.
Yeah.
Or probably the baby Pens, but.
So I'm looking at one player here that played for all three.
Ilya Lyubushkin?
No.
He didn't get there.
There is one team that did play. One player that did play for all three teams.
Okay.
All three of your teams: the Stars, the Penguins, and the.
DeSmith has not played for the Leafs.
As a defenseman. He's current.
Yeah,
he's not on either of those. Three
Cody
teams
Ceci.
Right now. Cody Ceci.
Yeah, Cody Ceci.
Yep.
Oh man, Cody Ceci.
And then there were a couple of players that went between the two teams at the deadline this last year.
The Leafs
between the Leafs and
Pens made a trade.
Pens, they made a trade this last year.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, they share a first name.
This is not one of the guys, but Michael Bunting.
Oh yes, Michael Bunting. Yep.
He is one of them. He is not one of the guys in the trade that you mentioned.
He did, get traded at the deadline, but
yeah. Another one that's not in that list though. Wait, no, I don't think Jared McCann ever played for Leafs, did he? No, he did. We just acquired him and then flipped him in the summer because we're dumb.
Hey, we're dumb too. We lost him for nothing.
Hey, we acquired him just to lose him to Seattle so we could keep Justin Hall. So who's the real dummies? Yeah. Who the Leafs? Dude, this is so embarrassing. There's a trade this year.
This year.
They both have the same first name.
Yeah, they both have the same first name. And one of them got traded by the Penguins to another team during the draft. Come on.
All right, what's the first initial of the first name?
C.
C. They're both C's.
Yeah, they're both C's.
Chris.
Nope.
Chris Tanev didn't play for y'all, did he? Just Brandon?
Correct.
Yeah.
We've never had Chris Tanev.
You should try Chris Tanev.
I don't think he's gonna. I think he's retiring a Leaf. So.
Oh, I hope so.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
C,
you want the first name?
I really don't. But what's the first name?
Connor. It's Connor.
Oh, Connor Timmins.
Yep.
And coming back to the Leafs was Connor.
No, they both went to the Penguins. This guy's still on the Penguins.
Oh, well, Noel Chari.
Yes, Noel Chari is
then, there. Mm-hmm. Connor. Who did we also send to the Pens? Mm-hmm. This is a bottom sixer.
It's bottom six forward.
Bottom six forward.
Yep,
he's still there.
Yep. He played 48 games with the Leafs over 2024 and 2025.
Oh, Connor Dewar. Yep.
All right. And speaking of bottom six forwards, there's some good ones that have exchanged teams.
How many do I have left?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 left.
6 players left. Yep. Okay.
So you're more than halfway through at this point. This is This is the player that has the second most total games played amongst the two teams. Most of them were as a Penguin. He is one of my favorite bottom six players to ever play in the NHL. And he's currently a Blue Jacket, which I know you're super familiar with the Blue Jackets roster, so I think he was a healthy scratch most of the time.
No, you guys didn't have James. Mm-hmm. You guys did not have JVR.
He's got an abbreviated last name, or a hyphenated last name, rather. And
it's not Nick Aube-Kubel, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay. Huh. I'm
disappointed, Colin. I'm disappointed. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite. He only played 77 games for the Leafs, in 2023.
Okay, 2023. This is 2 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
And he was on the Penguins from 2018 through 2022. A very long time.
This is not the player I'm thinking of, but is Radim Zohorna on this list?
Radim Zohorna was on this list. He didn't actually play in the NHL last year, and he's currently in.
I figured he didn't,
and I think he's in Sweden now, or something. So, but that is a good get.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hyphenated last name, played for Columbus in the bottom six.
Yeah.
God, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. He only scored 14 points in the 77 games he played as a Leaf.
Okay, not a scorer.
In fact, the opposite of a scorer, I would say. He's a defensive specialist.
Okay.
Penalty killing player.
I do have another player that's not the player that I'm guessing. It's the GOAT, Ryan Reeves.
Yep, the GOAT, Ryan Reeves, is on this list.
He is. No, that one for sure.
Yep.
Bottom six, hyphenated name. Mm-hmm. Not goal scorer 2 years ago for the Leafs, currently plays for Columbus. Mm-hmm. Man. Oh my gosh. No, his name's right there. I know the player we're talking about now. I just can't remember his name.
Would you like a letter from the from his name that might? I think it will give it away.
Yeah, give me the middle one.
You want the middle? The middle letter is
one.
A.
that was a bad choice by me.
The first letter would have been way better, but I can't give it to you now because then you'd have 2/3 of the letters.
Oh, I should just let the host run the segment. Oh, dude, this is killing me.
All right. It's a Z. The first letter is a Z. Z, yeah. You have 2/3. What's the last letter?
Zach Aston Reese.
Yes, Zach Aston Reese.
I did have the player in my head.
Yeah.
I was like,
all right.
Yeah.
There is one
so we
more.
got 4 more?
There's one more. I'm going to say easy one. And then the rest of them are impossible, I would say. Like pretty close to impossible. So,
okay.
But the last one, there's one thing I can tell you about him that would give it all away. But I'm going to tell you he's currently on the Kraken roster.
Currently on the Kraken.
Yeah.
Not McCann. Nope.
And you're not going to think of him unless I tell you that he's a goalie.
He's a goalie.
Yeah. Who played on the Penguins from 2016 through 2020. Played 199 games of the regular season.
Matt Murray!
Yes, Matt Murray was a Penguin and a Leaf.
Yes, he was. I forgot he was a Kraken now.
Yep, he just signed with them this offseason.
Yeah.
Okay, how can I get you to guess these?
Okay, so what do I have left?
You have 4. 3? You have 4 players left.
4 players.
Yeah.
Positions.
So do you have 3? Are they all forwards?
3 forwards. 4 forwards. 3 forwards.
Yeah, 4 forwards.
Okay, they all played in the NHL last year.
Yes. And they're not that good.
Yeah.
One of them.
That's a lot of the players we've exchanged.
Wait, okay, hold on. So one of them played 7 games total between the Penguins and the Leafs, but was on a playoff team last year in the New Jersey Devils.
On the Devils last year.
How many points did he put up on the Devils?
It's not Paul Cotter. Paul Cotter hasn't played.
Question. He had 15 points in 35 games played as a Devil. And he's from Plano, Texas. That's a fun fact. It's right around your neck of the woods.
Blake Coleman?
That's a good guess, but no.
I don't think he's been a Penn or a Leaf, but I know he's from Plano, Texas.
Mm-hmm. No, he was line mates with Blake Coleman though when they played in high school or whatever,
Probably.
I don't know. No, he's around that age. There's just no way you get this.
There's just no way.
There's just no way.
Nathan Bastian?
No,
I'm just trying to think of bottom 6 Devils at this point.
What? Who does he play? What? He's actually not listed as a bottom 6er on the Devils in Puckpedia. He plays on the
top 6er.
He plays on the second line with Hischier and Meyer.
I mean, it's not Dawson Mercer.
This is an extremely. I would say it's an extremely questionable choice to have him here, but
I have no idea.
It's Stefan Noesen.
Stefan Noesen was a Penn?
Yeah, he played on the Pens. He played.
I do remember him being a Leaf.
He played 6 games for the Penguins, and he played 1 game for the Leafs.
Yeah,
and he's an NHLer, so he meets. All right, I got another one. This one should be easier for you to get. He has a special connection to the Leafs. He's young. He played on the Leafs last year. He played on the Penguins the years before that.
Young, playing the Leafs last year.
Yeah. He's washed beyond belief, but he's related to somebody important. So
Patches? No.
He's related to somebody. So,
Jake McCabe, was it Penn? He was not washed. Never mind.
I guess in order to be washed, you had to have ever been good.
Right. Has this guy ever been good?
No, he was not. He was an 8th overall. He was the 8th overall selection in the 2016 NHL draft. And like I said, he has a famous brother. Mm-hmm. And he is. I guess is he washed now? I mean, yeah, you'd have to be good, but he's 27 now, which is crazy to think about. But he was unable to somehow he was.
Oh, William Nylander.
Yeah, Alex Nylander.
Alex Nylander.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I should have known that one.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 2 more.
Yeah, we got 2 more.
These are painful.
These are painful because these players are like such non-guys, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. This is another bottom 6 forward. He played for the Leafs in 2023. Played for the Pens in 2020 through 2022. And he is on the Blackhawks at this moment, but he was traded. By who? That's a great question. Who was he on before that? The Canucks, the Sabres. Those are all teams he's played for.
Oh man, this is a guy.
He was on the Sabres last year. He scored 7 points in 60 games played. It was a -15.
A Sabre last year.
Yeah, a Sabre last year.
He's been a Canuck, a Leaf,
a Leaf,
Pen.
a Pen, and a Blackhawk.
Has he played for the Blackhawks yet? Or was he acquired this year?
He was acquired this year, but he did also play for the Blackhawks in 2022-23. So apparently they liked him so much they had to trade for him again.
And this is a forward, right?
This is a forward, yeah. There's just no way that you have this name off the top of your
Peter
head.
Mrazek jumped out to me, but...
that would have been a good pull up. It is Sam Lafferty.
Oh, Sam!
Sam Lafferty.
I kind of like Sam Lafferty for half a second.
I mean, he's a guy. All right, and then the last one is currently not signed to a team, but he did play last year.
Okay.
And he played last year for what terrible team did he play for last year? That's the real question, right? He played last year for the Avalanche, actually. He played 11 games for the Avs, averaged 7 minutes of ice time. Then he played on the Coyotes. Oh wait, you know what? I'm washed. Cut him out. He didn't play last year. That was 2 years ago. That's my bad. That is.
Who was it?
It's my bad. It is Alex Galchenyuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a very scarred memory of him as a Leaf.
Yeah, I mean, super duper washed. But here, we can delete Galchenyuk from the thing. But yeah, that's the not a lot of good players.
No,
you know, there's like that's like none. I would say none of the. I mean, hey, Matt Murray was a good player when he was on the Penguins.
Matt Murray was a good.
He was a good Penguin. He was not a good Leaf.
He was a very good Penguin, actually.
I mean, you know, Stanley Cup winning goalie is very good.
2X.
Yeah, it's very good. And then not a single other player I think here is actually a good player. So
yeah, like Michael Bunting, is he the second best player in that list?
Probably. The number one player in terms of games played is Kasperi Kapanen.
Yeah.
Kasperi Kapanen. 162 as a Penguin, 202 as a Leaf. And I mean, you know, he's half a point per game guy for both of those teams. You know? Respectable. He's a respectable hockey player. I think
perfectly fine third line winger.
Yeah, he's there's an argument to make that he is a more successful player than Michael Bunting.
I think yes. I don't know if he's a better player though.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
like Bunting is a second line winger.
Yeah, well,
maybe
if we're talking about the actual,
I don't think Cappy should be a second.
The actual best player, you know, by career is Cody Ceci. As much as it might pain both of us to say, Cody Ceci, not a good Penguin.
No.
Not a good Leaf.
He was a
decent.
He was a pretty decent Leaf for most of his tenure.
Sure.
It ended pretty bad.
Sure.
I mean, it's the Cody Ceci experience, right? He's good, and then he does like some unforgivably bad things in playoffs and big games, and that tarnishes everything you think about him.
Yeah.
And he always, for some reason, has to play on the first pair.
Yeah, I don't know how he always manages to end up on the first pair.
If he's on the third pair,
yeah,
he can contribute enough you kind of saw with Edmonton 2 years ago, whenever he was on Edmonton, that like they had him on the third pair and he contributed nicely, and they hid a lot of his glaring mistakes.
But then you saw last year where he was on the Stars and he was on the first pair.
Yeah,
and you're like, what is going on here? Why? Why?
How's this happen every time?
So I'm excited to see the Kings have turned Jordan Spence into Cody Ceci, and so that's a great move for them for sure. Beyond questionable, but we fun. But yeah, that was that's my segment. So
that was fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It was a hard one.
It was hard.
It was a hard one. I wish there were better names here, man. I wish there were better names. I wish there were better players. I was like, oh, this will be fun. There can't be that many of them that are still active. Maybe he'll remember some. Like I fully expect you to remember the Connors. I knew you'd have
remember Timmins.
I knew you'd have Reeves. I know you'd get Achari. Yeah. I thought you'd get Czar. Come on, Colin.
I know. It wasn't. I forgot about him already.
Yeah, So and then a lot
also completely forgot he was on Columbus. I think that actually might have hurt more than helped.
You were thinking about Columbus players, and he's not. I would have. How many games did he actually play last year? I mean, he's also
Voronkov.
He's also beyond washed. So
JVR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he play? He played.
I mean,
he played 79 games last year.
Yeah,
he was full time.
Columbus didn't make the playoffs.
full time NHLer.
I mean, look, I like Czar a lot.
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't be playing 79 games.
Yo, you know what his goals 4% was in those 75 games? Not expected goals 4%. Actual goals 4% is worse than actual. Is worse than 40%. It was 39.7%.
Okay.
But I mean, he's a guy. He takes all the bad shifts, and he also sucks, and all that stuff.
And,
Yeah, I mean,
probably didn't play with anybody of note on the fourth line. God, tell me he was on the fourth line.
Yeah, I have to imagine.
Tell me he didn't play more than like 11 minutes a night.
Yeah, no, he did not. So, but yeah, completely washed player.
Yeah,
they're all completely washed except for Stefan Noesen was the interesting one that there's just no way you were ever gonna get it. I was like, fucking 7 games. There's no way he played
7 games between the two of them is insane.
And like the least memorable player in the top 6 of the Devils, like just a guy you don't ever think about. So
yeah,
it's funny. Stay tuned next week when we do the Pens and the Stars or the Leafs and the Stars. I don't actually know who those players are, but
Cody Ceci.
It's Cody Ceci. We know he's there.
It's Cody Ceci all the way down.
It's just all Cody Ceci.
All right, and I think that's going to wrap it up for us here on the Fourth Line Plugs podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in this week. Be sure to follow us on the social media channels that are going to be appearing on your screen right now.
Or somewhere in the links if you're watching on a non-video device.
Yeah, if you're listening to us, also appreciate you a ton. There are going to be links somewhere on the page for Spotify listeners and Apple listeners if I figure out how to get Apple Podcasts working. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We have next episode already kind of planned out, and I think it's going to be a banger of an episode as well. So be sure to tune in next time. And thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.